Hey, Lexi. Hey, thanks for taking some time out to have a coffee with me. We'll talk about coffee shortly.
Hey, Fab.
But you're the SAP Program Manager for RPC Technologies.
Sure.
And we'll find out a little bit more about that shortly. But I actually want to know about the coffee you're drinking.
Well, today I've got a cafe macchiato. So double shot espresso. I've got my Nespresso pods, Columbia, my favorite.
Nice.
So 2 shots with just a shot of touch of foam on top, which is my favorite coffee. So I started drinking macchiato after I had some time in Italy. So the golden rule in Italy is that you don't drink coffee with milk after lunchtime. So most of the bars, what I found is people drop in, have a quick shot of espresso, and then they keep going on their way. So it's not like the Australian way of drinking coffee where you sit with the mug and just drink all day. So yeah, it's get in there, get your shot of caffeine and move on.
We're known to have 10 to 12 coffees a day of the espressos. It's the only way you can really get through that many. What strength is yours?
Well, yeah, the Columbia is about I think it's a 6. It's a 6.
Okay. So
but the other one I have as well is the arpeggio, and that's a little bit stronger. So that's a 9.
Okay. So there's no milk in yours at all throughout the day? Only black?
Yeah, only in the morning I have a macchiato, and then in the afternoons I was having espresso.
Yeah, mine's not as elaborate as yours. I've just got a Vittoria, just a French press this morning.
Oh, fair enough.
So Italy, tell me about that.
Yeah, so well, I started working in SAP about 20 years ago, and one of my projects took me out to Broken Hill, where I was doing one of the first SAP implementations on the mine sites out there. Mm-hmm. And I took up dirt bike riding for a bit of fun because there's not much to do out there. And when I moved back to Melbourne, I thought, well, you know what, I'm going to keep racing and riding. And I joined a club in East Melbourne, and I met my future husband, at a motorcycle race. So Stefan Merriman is 4 times World Enduro Champion, and I was doing the timing at the event, and we met at the event. He flew in to compete in the race, and yeah, it was a bit of a whirlwind love story. He sent me a ticket to come and visit him in Italy.
Wow.
And then I came back 8 years later with 2 children.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Wow. What brought you back here then?
Well, Stefan retired. So he came back to race for Yamaha Australia. And, I was restricted to my work with SAP there because I was committed to supporting his career and managing his contracts. So when I came back, I really wanted to get back into the grunt work of SAP and S/4HANA Cloud. And so I managed to work my way back up in my career. So it's been good being back, but yeah, it was certainly an interesting journey in Italy. We had a couple of years living in Milan, so Varese, with the MV Agusta factory, which is in northern Italy.
My favorite motorbikes.
So whilst I was there, I used to work in the public relations department at MV Agusta, doing all the press releases for the new models that came out.
Oh, wow.
And then I managed Stefan's contracts with his helmet boot motorcycle contracts. And then he switched teams to the Honda team, and we moved to Piacenza for a couple of years. So that was interesting. And then we moved to, we spent some time in Sarzana, which is near the Cinque Terre. Yep. So we had a couple of years there. And then the final year with Aprilia back in Varese. So I had the children back here, and each year I'd take them back, in a baby carrier, nothing else, and they'd come with me to all the races. And
oh, wow.
And then eventually we got an apartment there where they went to preschool. So when they got to school age and Stefan had too many injuries, we decided to move back to Australia.
Are you still riding bikes today?
So I mountain bike.
Yeah.
So we've chosen a place to live. We're on the edge of a big mountain bike park, and
Okay.
and I also road cycle. So we developed a passion for road cycling in Italy. It's great to get out and get the wind in your hair, and so yeah, mostly now on road cycles and mountain bikes, not so much with engines in them.
What about the kids? Have you got the kids on the motorbikes?
Well, the kids are more mountain bikes, so
Okay.
yeah, we because we're sort of in a urban area, we don't have the opportunity to get out to tracks and that sort of thing, and yeah, most of the time I'm working, so that's pretty boring. But yeah, so mountain biking is an easy 1 hour after work, so get out and enjoy the outdoors.
So before we jump off that topic, please tell me Stefan won the race when you were keeping time.
Yes, he did.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, he won 4 world titles
Wow.
in enduro and 6 Italian titles. So we have lifelong friends in Italy, as well as a lot of other European countries where we've got most of the guys that Stefan used to race against still in contact with us. So yeah, and he had quite a passionate following. He was quite often in the La Gazzetta dello Sport,
Wow,
which
okay.
is got about a 60 million circulation in Italy. So it's a pretty big thing. And yeah, so during the time we had World Championship presentations at Monaco, and where they have all the world champions of motorsport. So Valentino Rossi was a teammate of Stefan's when he was with Honda as well as with Yamaha, and so we know a lot of other motorcyclists from speedway, motocross, that sort of thing. So yeah, it was a big transition moving back to Australia. We were in a different country every 2 weeks, and it was a pretty fast and busy lifestyle. But yeah, so it's good to be back though, especially in these COVID times. Grateful to be Australian.
Yeah, very true. And you're with RPC Technologies today, but how did that come about? And how are you finding our current environment with COVID?
Yeah, so RPC Technologies is a bespoke manufacturing and engineering company that makes composite solutions for pipelines for water and wastewater, the front ends of trains, submarine windows for defence. So they make a lot of different solutions, obviously bespoke, where their engineering and product management has to be closely managed through the WBS on a project. And when I first started with RPC, their legacy systems had a lot of gaps, and they had trouble sort of trusting their data for their month-end close on their projects. So for them, they really wanted to shift to a solution where they had real-time visibility of the costs on their projects, so they could make agile decisions. And so our transformation to S/4HANA Cloud happened pretty much last year. So the last company went live in February. That was our manufacturing facility in Adelaide. And what we were able to do then is, because we have all of our data on a cloud-based system, and 60% of our staff working from home, a lot of our project managers, we got up to 25 project managers throughout the APAC region. So our monthly forecasting meetings, we were able to host online using real-time data through SAP Analytics Cloud, which has been great because, instead of everybody circulating spreadsheets and signing them off and then, verifying changes or adjustments to forecasts, we were able to change the numbers on the screen in front of everyone real-time online, which basically we're closing out 200 projects at the end of each month within 5 days at the end of the month. And so, they have a very good idea of what the revenue forecast is and where their costs are sitting. And so, yeah, it's been a good transition.
Yeah, okay. And how's the, how did you come across the relationship with us at SAP Concur?
So with our legacy system, we started looking at Concur because it seemed like a logical solution to get all of our expenses into our main system quickly. Mm-hmm. And then when we started to consider moving to S/4HANA Cloud, we thought that it could be a good piece of the solution because monthly costs, you know, we've got site supervisors who are in remote locations doing pipe installation. We've got engineers that are, you know, scattered throughout Southeast Asia and India. And we thought, you know, this would be a way, especially during the COVID time, where we could have touchless approvals. And as soon as those costs get approved onto those WBSs, we see the cost hit the job immediately. Mm-hmm. So the managers throughout the organisation, originally they were sort of dragging their heels with it and said, "Oh, Lexy, more change, more change." But once they got into it, and we had a pilot group who went through the first lot of Concur approvals, they found it so easy and intuitive, and they, you know, so the costs get straight on the job straight away. We don't have handling of paperwork, and approvals are dealt with swiftly and effectively. So it's been a great final piece to the puzzle for us.
Yeah, nice. And what's next then for RPC Technologies?
Yeah, so we've got at the moment we're transitioning to success factors. So you know, we're moving. That's another part of our solution that we're looking at cross-application timesheets with success factors. We've also got a manufacturing facility in Indonesia, which we're waiting to go live. Mm-hmm. So that's been delayed because of the COVID situation. However, you know, what we're trying to achieve within RPC is a continuous improvement methodology where we look at the quarterly updates and we look at the new technologies that are coming in through SAP Cloud Platform and trying to identify how that can enhance our business processes. So when you first go live with SAP, we only use like 30% of the scope items because Sure. The business is not at a level of maturity where they're able to handle robotic process automation or, you know, sophisticated MRP programs, for example. So the business also has to grow into the solution. So it's about creating a model within the business where it's enablement and people can start to, within S/4HANA Cloud, it's more of a business process driven system as opposed to a technical programming decision. So we try to enable the key SMEs in the business in driving improvements in their own areas and looking at, you know, ways that they can improve. So with the success that we've had with Concur, one of the managers said to me, "Why aren't we doing invoices this way? It would just be so much easier." And I said, "Well, now that you mention it, we can." So it's just, you know, you can't sort of go big bang all at once. I think it's got to be as a business is ready to accept it approach, but it has to be able to evolve over time. It's not a one-off transformation. It's a constant journey.
How have you found the whole COVID situation at the moment, even for yourself and your team?
Yeah, it's had mixed results for us. In some ways, you know, our supply chains have been impacted for sure. Yeah. So a lot of our raw materials, glass and resin, comes from China, and so, you know, what this has been, it's been a good wake-up call to start to reevaluate, you know, alternate supply lines to get that business continuity. But on the flip side, there is a lot of products that we're now making for local markets, which were previously sourced overseas. So in the transport area, you know, there was a lot of products that you know, Australians would typically go to the Chinese for, but because of the delays in getting those items made, they're now looking at us. We may not be the lowest cost provider, but we're providing quality products in the time frames that they need to complete the project. So
Interesting.
there has been, some mixed results, but I think it's important to develop resilient supply chains, and I think that lesson has been well learned throughout this process. So
it's incredible, because I think one of the things that we've discovered is that now the whole dynamic of the workplace, the difference in cultural change, how we connect with each other, and things like that, and obviously with different parts of the country having their own somewhat restrictions, this has kind of really forced us to look at things either a lot quicker than we were about to, or it's created some opportunities that we didn't even think were there. So look, Lexy, thank you so much for all of this. Hope you enjoy your coffee. No milk this afternoon for your next ones. And I'm almost finished mine, but thanks again, and look, enjoy the rest of your day and your weekend.
Great to chat to you, Fab.